Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In today's update, we're going to be talking about a heat wave that's rolling in with well above average temperatures. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel and definitely share with your friends on social media. All right, so let's get started. So let's first start off with the overall height anomaly. This is what I like to look at, what's going on at the upper levels. So it kind of gives you an idea of what's going to transpire at the surface. And what's going to happen this week, this is a map from Tuesday as of today. We've got it developing a high pressure. There's been a lot of dry air down here in Mexico. And we've got a high pressure that's going to be building, kind of expanding throughout the week. So it's been very dry. It's been very dry in South Texas. They've been going into it an extreme, if a severe, if not extreme, drought in a lot of these places down in the Rio Grande Valley. But it's going to take advantage of that, and then high pressure likes the drier air, and it'll expand and kind of deepen throughout the week. So let's kind of take you through it. Here's what we look at for Tuesday, as we have that developing high pressure off the coast of Mexico, and then it will swing up in the southeast throughout the week. Now, if we take a look at the actual temperature anomaly coming up on Tuesday, we're kind of starting to rebound. We had a lot of rain and for the deep south, and now we're going to drying out for a couple days. Like I said, taking advantage of some of that high pressure that's going to be building in. So these temperatures are going to be starting to be above normal coming up on Tuesday into Texas and much of South and the Southeast. Now, if we expand the view going into Wednesday, it even kind of expands even further. Now it's expanding all the way into encompass all of Texas, starting to entrench into Oklahoma, into Kansas, into Missouri, and parts of the Ohio Valley. Where we've got the cooler air is into the Northwest, into California and parts of Oregon, into Washington, and to Montana. And we're kind of modifying in the Northeast after they've had that snowstorm over the weekend with some above average temperatures starting to modify in that part. But by Wednesday, you can see some of the temperature anomalies, like I said, expanding even further. Now we're getting into those 10, 15, if not 20-degree above average temperatures in a lot of spots. And you can see the graph here on the right hand side. Now we're kind of lifting, and that surge will be up that southwest flow, and it'll start getting into Kansas and in Nebraska, and start getting into Missouri and Iowa and parts of Illinois. So we're going to see a huge chunk above average temperatures this week for a good part of the country, especially for the South and Southeast, but getting into the Ohio Valley and eventually into the Northeast. But by Thursday, and you can see that ridge of high pressure start to really expand. I think that's when we kind of max out this week for Texas. I mean, we could even hit 100 degrees, believe it or not, for the very deep south of like places like Laredo, places like McAllen, and in Texas here. But this will expand and kind of shift, and some of those extreme anomalies will kind of shift into Louisiana, into Arkansas, into now we're getting into Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia. Start getting into Kentucky regions, and then that warmer air will start to surge and lift throughout the week. But you can see behind it by Thursday, we have that trough that's going to be digging in. That's going to be a major player come Friday with potential another severe weather setup that I'll probably do in a future video. But by Thursday, you can kind of see those anomalies just really starting to expand and kind of take over the pattern here. And now we're seeing those kind of a central part of the country where it's going to be kind of an intensifying with those 15, 20, in some spots could even be 25 degrees above normal into places like Nebraska and Kansas, into Missouri here. So be looking for some well above average temperatures coming up for especially as we get in deeper into the week ahead. But by Friday, that you can see that high pressure up above, kind of intensify now over the Carolinas and really deepen over Georgia and part of South Carolina, North Carolina, into Virginia and parts of Kentucky here and West Virginia. So this will expand, and like I said, by Friday we're going to be having to watch this. As you can see, this kind of the class and temperatures here. So we've dried out for much of the week, but we are going to have to watch a developing trough that's going to be digging in to possibly have another severe weather setup starting in Texas and possibly lifting into the Northeast as we go through the weekend. So I'll be detailing a lot more of that in future videos. But by Friday, those temperature anomalies, like I said, really start to intensify and deepen into Texas or Louisiana, for much of the South, Florida. Now you could be getting into the 90s now. So uh, definitely be looking forward to that. You know, like I said, places could be easily in the lower 90s coming up by Friday afternoon for much of Florida, especially South Florida. But you know that ridge will expand even further and widespread 80s, you know, mid 80s, and even you can't rule out a couple 90s down here in the deep south. But this will expand into Illinois and into the Ohio Valley by Friday and start surging some of those warmer temperatures further north, and eventually getting into starting to modify some, start getting into some of those above average temperatures into Pennsylvania, into New York, and parts of much of the Northeast coast. But if you take a look at the overall height anomalies by Saturday, you can see that ridge kind of kind of going off the East Coast now. So this will basically shift from Texas, go through the central part of the country, shift to the southeast, and eventually be over the Carolinas by Saturday now, and with that ridge of high pressure, as that trough digs in, and as that severe weather threat kind of shifts further east as we go throughout the weekend. But by Saturday afternoon, you can see those temperature anomalies really starting to intensify and deepen over the southeast now, and now we're seeing those 80s really implanted over like places like Georgia and Kentucky and Ohio. So now we're going to be seeing those 80-degree temperatures, and where that rain starts to be more of a factor. With some of those cooler air, we're going to be modifying some of those temperatures throughout the week on the backside, but still overall a well above average week coming up. And by Monday, by Sunday, you can see those temperatures anomalies. That ridge will go off the East Coast, but behind it, it's not really going to be cold. It's still gonna be warm, but not as warm, but still above average temperatures for much of the week, going through the end of March. And like I said, this will extend all the way through the end of March with those higher temperature anomalies. But if you take a look at the actual overall, even taking it even further than that, the latest 6 to 10 today outlook from the National Weather Service has even intensified, and this will continue with above average temperatures for much of the country, with a good chunk of like Florida, where you're going to be seeing those 90-degree temperatures. And this will, like I said, will expand the view from the 29th all the way into the first couple of days of April. So we do have kind of a rebound coming for much of the country. Much of the country is going to be above average. That, you know, this week will be a little bit below average off the West Coast, but a huge chunk will be above average. But overall, and the latest, as we come up through the end of the month, we're going to be above average for a good chunk of the country to start April. So I appreciate you guys tuning in this morning, and be sure to like this video and share with me in the comments of your most memorable heat wave out there that you've experienced in your lifetime. I know me growing up in Texas, I've seen a lot of heat waves. So I'd like to hear about yours and your experience out there. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, and definitely share with your friends on social media, and catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.